Eddie Mansell here from Ray White Projects, here with Daniel Pym from Loan Market. Just sort of touching base and wanting to have a chat around first home buyers, what's going on with the new scheme. Obviously there's been a lot of conversation with a lot of press, a lot of media. You and I have had several conversations around with it, as the rest of the team, so thought it'd be a sort of good opportunity to really put out there what we're seeing also from our perspective, but from a finance perspective. I guess firstly, have you sort of seen first home buyers sort of reach back out to you with the new scheme coming in?
Yeah, we definitely have. I think the thing that holds first home buyers back is not income. They've all got a job, but it's really deposit. It takes a lot of time to save a deposit, and then when you have to pay stamp duty on top of that, it really slows things down. So the fact that first home buyers can buy a property up to 1.5 million in New South Wales now is great. The previous scheme, the maximum purchase price to pay no stamp duty was $650,000, which was not very practical in Sydney. So this new scheme allows clients to take a land tax option instead. I've had a bit of a play around with the calculator where you can put in each property address that you're interested in. It'll tell you the land tax. So the ones that I had a look at, the stamp duty on up to 1.5 million was $62,000. But the land tax option was about $2,000 a year. So, when you think about how long a first home buyer owns a property for, they're probably going to turn it over within 10 years and be able to buy now without having to save more money.
I was making the comment to you before that, what we saw in the first weekend since the announcement, and it was a sort of bit of an awkward announcement because there wasn't really that week lead up. It was sort of launched. Some people were sceptical, but as you're just pointing out, what I believe it's now allowing you to do with a lot of these buyers is typically a lot of the previous grants up to 750, 850 have really meant that you're anywhere from 30 to 40 kilometres out of the CBD if you want a 2-bedroom unit. 1.5, and especially now that you're able to do it on existing and new property, will put you anywhere in between sort of, you can pretty much buy the inner west going back out into the, the greater Sydney, which I think's, really hasn't been, a scheme like this hasn't been on the radar for many years.
Yeah, people want to buy where they grow up or in the surrounding areas. So the fact that you can spend up to 1.5 million, if you grew up near the city or the eastern suburbs or the northern beaches, you can actually afford to buy an apartment around there and buy it much sooner than you would have otherwise had to wait.
So what are the key things that, from a finance perspective, that you're sort of going to be encouraging your prospective borrowers to consider?
What we see a lot of is that the money's there, like the income's there, and so I think this is going to accelerate people being able to buy a lot quicker. There's also a federal government scheme where you can come up with a 5% deposit and the government will guarantee the rest of the loan. That's only on a purchase price up to $900,000, but there's all sorts of loans out there where you can get some help from your parents. So I think it's a great time for first home buyers to actually get into the market. They've come off a run where the last few years they were just getting priced out. Everything was so expensive.
Agreed.
So I think now's the time to strike, if their circumstances are right.
So where they're buying existing or new, I guess that's the big change with this new scheme. I think that's really important. Obviously want them to buy new, that's what we do as projects, but I really think that there's some great opportunities. I know within some of the exciting projects we have coming up in the next 6 months will certainly fall within that category. So we're quite excited by it. In terms of buyers, still watching borrowing and buyers, they should be still watching expenses, the sort of key components that already exist when you're going to borrowing at the moment.
Most first home buyers are still sort of starting out in their industry, so they don't normally have the big car loans and the school fees, but they oftentimes have maybe a HECS debt. So we talk to clients about budgeting, we give them the right information about borrowing capacity so they know exactly what they can do.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Daniel, for some advice on that, and if we can help you or if Daniel can help you, please feel free to give us a call.